What's up, everyone? My name is Tyler Adolfo, and in this video I want to talk about the intense levels of social withdrawal that I experienced during a bipolar depressive episode. But before we get into that, I'd like to begin by starting the story at the beginning, because it's never fun to start the story in the middle. We need that extra context to truly appreciate what we're looking at. So the beginning is this. I am an introvert. However, during my junior year of college, I really stepped outside of my comfort zone and challenged myself and developed a great deal of social relationships. And that's important. Psychologist James Van Fleet says that sense of belonging, sense of peer approval are two of the basic human desires that people have. And I was satisfying both of these desires through a number of different avenues. I was in a social fraternity, and for the spring semester, I had pledged and became very close and formed a tight-knit community with, my fellow pledge brothers as we went through the arduous task of pledging. That's a topic for something else, another day. But through that experience, I really molded together a lot of friendships through trial. And the social fraternity, once I got in, I made even more friends because everybody wants to party with you when you're in a fraternity. Literally everybody on campus. And you meet a lot of people that way. But it wasn't just through the fraternity that I satisfied those desires of peer approval and belonging. I was also a member of the student government. This was going into fall semester. At one point in the fall semester, I applied to become an SGA senator because there was an opening, and I had experience from my freshman year, and I was able to get the role as an SGA senator. Now, I ended up having it very briefly because it was interrupted by a manic episode, of course, but I had it for a while, I guess. And I also had social interaction through my job, working at the Chamber of Commerce, working with the boss, working with coworkers, and managing social media pages for the Amherst Chamber of Commerce. And that was a fantastic and fun job. Very nice people, very rewarding, good pay, and I miss it a lot. And it just goes to show how much you lose when you have a manic episode and it gets out of control, which is exactly what happened with me. And I also had social interaction in my classes, of course. Just going to class, you meet new people, you make friends that way. And I was socializing a lot. So the reason why I mention all this is I want to contrast that with what happened during my depressive episode. After my manic episode, I entered a severe depressive period. And the reason for that mainly is because I was embarrassed and ashamed of all the things I had said and done to those I care about. I was saddened by the fact that I lost all my friends and social connections. And I started to isolate as a result of the embarrassment, the guilt, the shame, the fear that this could happen again. And the only real interaction I had with people for a long while, because I had no friends, I wasn't visiting family. The only real interaction I had was going to therapy appointments and psychiatry appointments. And I was afraid to go out into the world because I felt like the whole world knew about my manic episode. And that's where a large amount of the embarrassment came from. Is I had this irrational view that everybody out there at all times is thinking about what Tyler Adolfo had done and said. And there were a lot of people who witnessed it, don't get me wrong. I was making posts during my manic episode on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat. A large part of campus witnessed my mental breakdown. Not just the members of my fraternity, not just the members of student government, but people all around campus. People in my hometown, because I posted crazy things to my town's Facebook page, local community page. And man, I got a lot of nasty comments from there. Everyone else was, for the most part, either ignoring, not getting involved in what it was I was saying and doing. But when I posted on the Facebook community page for my local town, people said some nasty things. And, what I was saying was delusional, but I feel like it was pretty obvious that I was obviously suffering from some kind of mental health issue, and it's certainly not the approach I would have taken if I saw somebody having a mental breakdown, especially after all that I've gone through. So I had this irrational view that the whole world knew, though, that when I go outside and go to the store, that people there will know about the posts I made on the Facebook, or if I go down to visit family, they're going to certainly know, and they did because they were on my Facebook too. But that everybody knew. That was the fear. And during my social withdrawal, I became radically depressed. I became suicidal at times because I felt like I was worthless, like I had no value to offer to anybody. And what eventually helped me get out of this rut, what helped me overcome this fear that the whole world knew, is that in reality, people are so busy and preoccupied with their own lives, they don't have time to think about something you said or did years ago. Is it possible for them to be reminded or remember if they come across you? Sure. But I'm talking about on a daily basis. It is likely that 99% of these people who interacted with me are not thinking about it right now. I sure was, because what I went through was so traumatizing for myself. And that trauma stuck with me for an extended period of time. During that period of time, I withdrew because I was embarrassed. I socially withdrew myself from everything. But I'm in a different place now. I visit family again, and I go outside to the gym, and I actually leave the house. So I attend support groups online. I attend Alcohol Anonymous meetings in person. There's a lot that I do to get social interaction today in order to satisfy those desires of peer approval and sense of belonging. Are things like they were before? No, and that's okay. It's okay if things are different, especially after what I went through. And that's what I've learned is you're not going to follow a linear path in life. Things are going to happen to you, and you're going to have to adapt. And that's one of the greatest strengths that I learned, and I talked about that in another video, is adaptability. That's the big thing that I learned, that I was able to evolve in my inner being as a result of the trauma I experienced. So the social withdrawal wasn't permanent. Even though I'm not experiencing the level of social interaction I did while I was in college, I'm socializing more than I was during my depressive period. And perhaps once I return to college and go to law school, I'll be socializing even more. I certainly will be if I get my Juris Doctor and become a lawyer. So there's a lot to look forward to. Don't lose hope. If you're in a tough position yourself, try to make small changes. And don't try to do too much at once. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself because of where you're at. It's not your fault that you have this illness. And it's within your power to enact positive change if you just take small steps. For me, it was the simple step of leaving my house to go get an iced coffee in the morning at Honeydew. And that was my social interaction for the day, was ordering an iced coffee. Eventually that translated into me signing up for a gym membership and exercising at the gym. And eventually that translated into me getting a job, which I worked for 7 months and even took on a management position. And even though I don't have that job now, because I'm exploring other opportunities and because it was toxic, let's be real, I'm proud of what I've been able to achieve and how far I've overcome. I truly am. And never give up, because you never know what's going to happen. You can navigate your way around these obstacles in life. So, thank you all for watching. My name is Tyler Adolfo. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Peace out, y'all.